triple negative breast cancer remains a lesser funded research simply because it impacts fewer people, right? And so when you have a breast cancer that I wouldn't say it's rare, but it's no more than 20% of all breast cancer cases, we feel that most research dollars go to fund, the more prevalent forms of breast cancer. And that's why it's really important to have an advocacy group like ours that is specifically dedicated to raising money for research of triple negative breast cancer specifically.
Welcome to Believe in Progress, the American Association for Cancer Research Foundation podcast. Join us and be inspired by the incredible stories of those who have faced cancer with strength and resilience, and the medical professionals who are working tirelessly to find new treatments and ultimately a cure. Believe in Progress isn't just about the science of cancer. It's about the human side of this disease. Together, we can make progress in the fight against cancer and bring hope to those who need it most. Well, welcome to the Believe in Progress podcast, brought to you by the AACR Foundation. I'm your host, Mitch Stoller, the Chief Philanthropic Officer at the AACR. Today, we're joined by two remarkable women who are at the forefront of the fight against cancer. Haley Dinnerman, the co-founder and executive director of the TripleNegative Breast Cancer Foundation, and Melissa Berry, founder of Cancer Fashionista. Haley and Melissa bring unique perspectives to our ongoing conversation about cancer awareness, patient support, and advocacy. Together, we'll explore their journeys, the challenges they faced, and the hope they bring to so many. Haley Dinnerman is the co-founder and executive director of the TripleNegative Breast Cancer Foundation, the leading advocacy group for the triple-negative community. She began her career as a corporate lawyer in New York City and pivoted to the nonprofit world when a close friend was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer. Haley is a proven thought leader in the breast cancer space with the ability to cast vision, strategically plan, manage, and fund innovative social impact solutions. Her tireless commitment, unparalleled resourcefulness, and valuable relationships have resulted in millions of dollars raised to fund triple-negative specific research initiatives, as well as an extensive array of resources and support services for those battling TNBC. Melissa Berry is the current board chair of the TripleNegative Breast Cancer Foundation. She's a 10-year triple-negative breast cancer survivor and the founder of Cancer Fashionista. During her breast cancer journey, she scoured the internet to help manage the appearance-related side effects of her treatment and surgeries. Melissa began to keep track of the best advice and items that she found. Then she created the cancerfashionista.com blog to share her recommendations with others. She has since become a trusted voice in breast cancer community, launched her own podcast, quote, Dear Cancer, I'm Beautiful, end of quote, and has been tapped by several national media outlets to share both product recommendations and self-care tips for cancer patients. Melissa has been recognized for her outstanding support of women affected by breast cancer by many, many organizations. And in 2016, she received the TripleNegative Breast Cancer Foundation's Courage Award. And in 2018, she was honored with the YWCA Bergen County's Beacon of Light Award. Join us as we delve into their stories of resilience and dedication in our shared journey of hope and progress against cancer. Melissa and Haley, so great to have you here. Welcome to the Believe in Progress podcast. And I feel so good because the three of us are all from Jersey, and we've got that Jersey attitude and that Jersey spirit. But Melissa and Haley, so happy to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
So, Melissa, we'll start with you. I'd love to hear a little bit about your cancer journey, and tell us a little bit about how you got to triple-negative breast cancer.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having us here. And I'm just I have the chills just being here with Haley. It's always surreal when you're telling your story. I'm almost 11 years out. I was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer about 11 years ago. And I was a fashion and beauty publicist. I was a young mom living my life. And prior to that, my mom actually kept pressing me to get tested for the BRCA gene because we have a lot of breast cancer in our family. And I did test positive for the BRCA gene. I was very closely monitored. But still, I was diagnosed with triple negative, and it was shocking because not only did I know what I'd never heard of triple negative breast cancer, but I didn't even know that there were different types of breast cancer. So this news sent me to a tailspin. And Mitch, I was just very, very lucky that because I was closely monitored. We caught this thing at stage 1 with no node involvement, which is really lucky. And once I knew what my course of treatment was, which was bilateral mastectomy and aggressive chemotherapy, which is what this disease usually requires, I thought, how am I going to look pretty for my meetings? I don't need to look like a supermodel. I just want to look like myself. So I went online, Googled it. Where's the Vogue of breast cancer? Where are the cool wigs and the pretty post mastectomy bras? And I was so frustrated because nothing was in one place. So I started a list, and this list became a blog. And when I realized that there were other women just like me that really desperately needed these resources, I thought, I got to keep doing this. So it became a passion project of mine. And I met Haley Ditterman, who happens to be the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation executive director, who happens to be basically my next door neighbor. And our daughters went to high school together.
You did not know her,
So
though, prior to that?
no. And so the story goes, we met, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to be, featured you want to be one of our champions?" I'm like, "What's that?" She was like, "We'll share your story on our website." I'm like, "Why would I want anyone to know I have breast cancer?
Right.
No way, Jose." And now I'm like, "Where's the camera?"
Welcome to the podcast. That's
So I launched and so I owe so much to Haley. She's a dear friend, but also a mentor, and has always encouraged me to keep going and to keep sharing what I know in different mediums, which included a podcast which I launched during COVID, something that I always wanted to do, and I love. And I'm just and I'm now also the board chair for the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation, which is again very surreal. But it's an incredible honor to be working alongside Haley and our incredible board to keep our mission going. So that is my story in a nutshell. I'm a mom of 2 beautiful daughters. Again, they're Haley's daughters' ages. Maya is 21. I
what?
say that, and are
No,
17.
I don't believe that. And Haley, tell us about how Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation and how you got to becoming the executive director of this wonderful organization.
Sure. Well, thank you again for having me, for having us. And it's a very roundabout way that I got to this place. I never saw myself doing this type of work. Like you had mentioned in my introduction, I was a corporate lawyer. I was a young mom. My family and I moved to the suburbs from New York City, where I was practicing, and I took some time off to raise my daughters. I have twin daughters, and it was during I think it was Music Together. It was one of those types of, classes for babies and young moms that I met the women that would end up becoming the original, co-founders of the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation. Among them, my friend Nancy Zena, who was the friend for whom the foundation was created. We were, like I said, we were all, young moms. We were professional women, but none of us had any experience in the medical world and fundraising, any of this. None of us had any direct experience with breast cancer either. So when our friend came to us, and you have to remember we were, in our early 30s, our kids were so young, and said that she had found something. She thought she found a lump. We really didn't think much of it. And when she said she had triple negative breast cancer, just like Melissa said, it was like the first time we had heard those words, we never realized that breast cancer was more than one disease, that there were more than one, there was more than one type. And we certainly never realized that breast cancer could impact women as young as us. We heard of, our mother's friends dealing with breast cancer, and most of them, went through treatment and did well. So to hear that there was something so aggressive, a form of breast cancer that could impact someone so young, was really shocking to us. And, but because we were, professional women, because we felt like we were very capable, we rallied around our friend Nancy, and we said that we were going to try to figure out who were the best doctors, where were you going to go to get the best treatment, what was available for her. And lo and behold, we Googled it like people do, and we got those dreaded results. No results found. So this is back in 2005, I think, and there was really nothing out there. But what we did find was a medical article, and it was in a medical journal, and in the footnotes, it mentioned Dr. Eric Weiner, who was then at Harvard. And not knowing that we should be intimidated to call Dr. Eric Weiner at Harvard, we figured we'd reach out to him. And he was incredible. He was our first contact in that world. He encouraged us, and he was the first member of our scientific advisory board that went on to include other luminaries in the area of oncology, of breast oncology, and really the world's foremost experts in triple negative breast cancer. And then we quickly moved from there to I guess, spearhead the first triple negative breast cancer symposium. It was the first of its kind. It brought together about 35 of the world's leading experts in TNBC.
Where was
And
that?
the aim was to, to put together a roadmap for future research and to kind of see what the state of the state, was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And from that original meeting came a white paper, the first on triple negative breast cancer, that has been cited hundreds of times. And, that was our first kind of foray into research. So we ended up funding, millions in research over the years, as with AACR being one of our partners, one of our very important partners, and also, creating a space and a home for women and families that are dealing with triple negative breast cancer.
Haley, when was that first symposium? When did you remember when you did that?
It was in 2006. It was in 2006, and at that same time, Dr. Weiner was on Komen's board as well. And Komen had an innovative program at the time, these promise grants. And we ended up being partners on the first triple negative breast cancer promise grant. And that ended up contributing about $7.4 million to research in
It sounds
TNBC.
like what you did is we do these AACR, we do these think tanks when
Mm-hmm.
there's a problem and you have to kind of think about whatever the problem might be: lung cancer, ovarian cancer, triple negative breast cancer, and it sounds like what you did was like establish the blueprint for what has to be done. I think scientifically, research wise, is that kind of accurate about?
That is a very that is a very good explanation of what we did. Yes, it was a think tank. It did bring together minds that had not previously been in the room to discuss this particular form of breast cancer, and we really were able to map out avenues for future research. And a lot of collaborative projects came out even of that first meeting. And this was a think tank that we repeated annually for many years. And now it's not annual, but we still host these think tanks from time to time where there's more to discuss.
And for both of you, Melissa, I mean, there seemed like back then really was not a specific focus, or there was a lack of a focus on triple negative breast cancer. Talk a little bit about that focus now. You both have seen, and have funded many grants, including with AACR. But talk about the importance of a focus on research in triple negative breast cancer.
I think that for us, what we've realized is, there are so many incredible organizations that focus on, raising money for breast cancer research, right? But triple negative breast cancer remains a lesser funded research simply because it impacts fewer people, right? And so when you have a breast cancer that I wouldn't say it's rare, but it's no more than 20% of all breast cancer cases, we feel that most research dollars, go to fund, the more prevalent forms of breast cancer. And that's why it's really important to have an advocacy group like ours that is specifically dedicated to raising money for research of triple negative breast cancer specifically. We help shape the research agenda through the think tanks, like I described, and other programs that we have. And then we really try to work with incredible partners like AACR to, help identify, researchers that can help, come up with a breakthrough at some point. We really want to be at the forefront of research and really want to push people to think specifically about triple negative breast cancer.
So you both sit in New Jersey, and really the foundation started kind of as a more of a Northeast, North Jersey type of activity. But are you seeing that your volunteers are coming from all over the country now, and do people contact you from all over the place to learn more about what's going on and where they can get help and assistance?
From every continent. Melissa can speak to this. We have one of our programs. So, our foundation focuses on research, but also, a second aim, and it's a huge part of what we do, are programs, educational programs and support programs for the triple negative community. And one that we started, during the pandemic as a way to get people who are dealing with this disease to not feel alone and to be able to connect not only with the foundation, but with each other, are these Zoom meetups. We have 3 every month, Metastatic Mondays, Thriver Thursdays, and Tuesdays with TNBC Friends. And people sign up from all over the world. Melissa can speak a little bit more to those, but it's an incredible resource and really impacts people worldwide.
Absolutely. It's certainly a resource that I wish we had when I was going through treatment. There is nothing better than speaking to other women that are your age, that even have, similar children's age, like similar lifestyle, to be able to connect, compare notes. These calls have forged friendships because, like I always said, when you're going through something like cancer, it's like you want to have the big sister to be like, hey girl, this is what you need to do. Like, call this doctor, or, this is where you get your wig from, or no, don't use this soap. Because as much as we love our doctors, they are here to save our lives. All the other stuff in between that's really important is the day-to-day stuff. What am I eating? Like, what am I putting on my skin? Like, what am I washing my clothes with? I mean, it gets really granular. And we have an incredible community of women that have met each other through these Thriver meetups, which are virtual, that they're magical. And they're also able to exchange medical information because, look, again, not every doctor can know everything,
Right.
every treatment. So someone might say, oh, wait, what kind of treatment or what kind of medicine are you taking? I'm going to ask my doctor if that's good for me. So it's just all around an
And
incredible
are they
resource.
how do they find out about this? I mean, is it word of mouth? Is it on your website? How do they know if somebody's listening in the audience?
We're a social media
Yeah.
machine, Mitch. I'm just going to tell you that
What a
right
surprise.
now.
We are. We
What a
really
surprise to me.
try to promote these programs, and that, the meetups are just one of many programs. We have educational programming that we do, everything from updates from the major medical conferences to ways to deal with fears of recurrence, which is, something that's very prevalent in our community. And we promote them like crazy. So when I say we have people calling us from all over the world to join these teleconferences and these meetups, I'm talking about every continent, to the point where we had to kind of stagger the times of the programming to allow people from different time zones to join. And so it makes you kind of, I don't know, feel fortunate, if you could say that, to be here in the United States and realize, we have so many more resources here than we hear from other people that they have in other countries. And places that you would think would have more support still have to rely on us for information and support because it's lacking elsewhere.
Melissa, cancer fashionista. talk to me a little bit about Cancer Fashionista and the importance of that. I know it's important to talk about maintaining a really good self-image and dignity and all those really important things. But how'd you come up with this? It sounds like you came up with it through maybe your background and your earlier professional career. But I know that really caught my eye when I first read about you and learned about you and was going to have the opportunity to meet you back in December, which was a highlight for me, by the way. But talk a little bit to the audience. Talk to the
Likewise.
audience a little bit about Cancer Fashionista and the importance of it and what it means to you and what it means to the community at large.
Thank you so much, Mitch, and thank you for your kind words. I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to meet in person as well. I basically came out of the womb playing with Barbies. Uh, Obsessed with fashion from day one. I went to school. I went to Marist College and studied fashion design and merchandising.
Poughkeepsie, New York, right?
I kind of took a little pivot from design, and I spent most of my career, my working years, as a fashion and beauty publicist, and I worked for and represented major national brands like Maidenform, American Eagle Outfitters. I coordinated interviews for Sarah Jessica Parker. It was a wonderful career. I wouldn't trade it for a thing. And when you take someone like me and you throw cancer into the mix, it's like cancer and beauty and fashion, those words don't go together. But I'm like, you know what? They need to. Because, Mitch, one thing I've definitely learned, and the reason that I created Cancer Fashionista, to answer your question, is because if I'm having issues with what kind of bra do I wear, or this closet full of clothing doesn't even feel like it belongs to me anymore, or I have no lashes, how am I putting myself together every morning? If I have these questions, it means other women have these questions. So I would really, when I found a resource that worked for me, I would share it, because I felt like that would be really selfish not to share it with anybody. And because of my PR thing and my gift of gab, it was just really fun for me to share it. And like I always say, it was like having a magic wand. When I started promoting and sharing what I knew on social media and seeing that it was helping other women and getting messages from them, thanking them, I was like, oh my God, I can't stop. Like, I can't stop doing this. So it's started out really as a passion project, and really just from my own sanity of wanting to look and feel my best. And fast forward, I now have a nonprofit called the Cancer Fashionista Foundation. And, there is no reason to minimize the need for feeling and looking your best, because guess what? It's mental health. If you don't feel good enough to go out to dinner with your partner, or drop your kids off at school, or go to the supermarket to pick up milk, it's not okay. There are women that are literally just like, they don't want to leave their house, and I don't want to let that happen to anybody. No one should ever feel that way. So that's why I do what I do.
Are you finding is more and more people, and it's not specific to any cancer. I mean, any could be any cancer, or a person dealing with any type of cancer could come and learn and benefit from this, right?
1,000%. I mean, I'm obviously a triple negative ambassador, advocate. I was treated for the disease, but certainly everything I've learned and the resources that I share are applicable to cancer and, general trauma and disease states, and, many things, but primarily a focus on cancer, hair loss.
Do men come to you?
That's so interesting. You should add. They don't. I wouldn't say they come to me, but it's something that I think I should start to address more, because there are more and more men that are, have an awareness. Like, full disclosure. And Haley, I don't know if I told you this, but my dad called me not long ago and was like, Melissa, you're going to be so proud of me. I was like, what? He's like, I went for a mammogram. I'm like, what? Are you okay? He's like, I felt a little something. And I thought, with all this craziness in our family, I wasn't going to take any chances. And he's like, guess what? I went. He's like, I took my phone out and I told the technician who you were, and she follows you now, and I can't believe how many pictures you have on Instagram.
We've dealt with this group called Man Up to Cancer. A guy by the name of Trevor Maxwell is the founder of the group. And boy, I think I'm definitely going to have them reach out to you guys, because I think
Please,
that there's
absolutely.
a real need. That foundation's all about men starting to talk about their issues, because sometimes us us guys don't want to talk about issues like that. And I think that they've been doing some really good work. So the work that you're doing could potentially impact those.
Oh, I just got the goosebumps. I would
So
love that. Thank you. Yeah, because men have mastectomies, men have body image issues, they have loss of feeling in their. I mean, it's very very
yeah, yeah,
similar.
yeah. Haley, so tell me about the not only the evolution of the foundation, Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation, but what's your vision of the future for this unbelievable organization? That I think I told you that when I saw you in December at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Conference. I had
Mhm.
met you. I had only been there like one other time before, and that was like 8 years ago. And I think you were pretty in the formative years of the foundation, and what's happened and what's transpired is it's inspiring and it's impactful. But talk a little bit about that impact that you're making and where you see the foundation going in the future.
Thank you so much for that. I know we started this. We were babies, like we were we were so young. We had no idea, really where our place was in the advocacy world. And I think we're still figuring it out, but I think we have a much better understanding of why we're here. And I think that in terms of the evolution of it, when we first started, I told you this once, Melissa, but we wanted to raise money for research. So we started this website, launched a website. There was no website at the time for Triple Negative. And we listed all the grim statistics. And this is why you need to support Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation. And we started getting emails from women who were in treatment saying things like, just when I thought my life couldn't get any worse, I found your website. So we immediately we realized that, oh, wow, it's not just donors that are looking at this. There are women out there are families out there that are looking for support, and this is what we put out there. So we immediately took it down, and we realized we had this incredible opportunity to create a community and to create a home for people who are dealing with this disease. And so now, in addition to supporting research, which is, kind of 50% of what we do, the other 50% of, our activities are support and education related and really community building. And I think that, where pre-pandemic, if you talk about the evolution of the foundation, pre-pandemic, we took advantage of, certain touch points throughout the year to meet with our community. And when the pandemic happened and we realized we couldn't do that anymore, we thought, wow, we're going to lose this big, this big aim and this big part of who we are. And then, and that's where the meetups started, right? That's when we started realizing that, hey, we have an opportunity here to reach people that we never reached before, right? People in rural communities that were not traveling to the, on the ground events that we were throwing. People who were too sick to travel, even if they were living, 10 feet away from where we were. And so, now with our online presence and these, Zoom meetups and other online events, we're really able to reach so many people and give them a place to kind of land during their treatment. And, one of the things I'm most proud of is seeing how people who came to us, as part of these online, Zoom communities, after their first treatment, right, or their first chemo, and now, years later, they're post treatment, they're looking at this almost in their rear view mirror, and they're there to help the newly diagnosed go
Oh,
through it.
they're giving
And
back.
so I think that that's what I want to grow the most. And we're always going to continue to support research because that is a huge part of who we are. And, we want to get to that place where there is no more need for us as an organization. That's my dream for the future. But until then, we just want to make sure that people who hear the words, you have triple negative breast cancer, don't feel alone and have a place to go and, a caring community and partner organizations, right? Like Cancer Fashionista or Touch the Black Breast Cancer Alliance, these organizations that we work so closely with to make people feel that, you have more than one community and we're all here to support you.
Triple negative breast cancer definitely affects African American community, right? With a higher incidence, I think,
Yes.
than normal, right? And can you chat a little bit about that? And I guess I had the great pleasure to meet Ricky and interview her. And I think she's very close to you guys, and I think it's wonderful that there's such great collaboration amongst a bunch of different nonprofit
We're basically
organizations.
family at this point.
We are
Good.
sisters. We are really, really just like family, like you said. So when it comes to breast cancer in general, Black women are less likely to get breast cancer. But if they do get breast cancer, when they do get breast cancer, it is more likely to be triple negative. Their fatality rates are higher. The stage of diagnosis is later. And so, and their participation in clinical trials historically has not been high. And so for all those reasons and, various other reasons as well, the incidence of triple negative in the Black community and the mortality rate from triple negative in the Black community it's just unacceptable, right? And so this is something that we've been working on from the very beginning. At our first think tank, as you like to call it, back in 2006, one of our first presentations was from Dr. Lisa Newman. She is on our scientific advisory board, and she does a tremendous amount of work in Africa and in dealing with health disparities, right? And so this has been on our radar forever. And now we continue to do programming that is specifically geared towards helping women of color navigate triple negative breast cancer. But we also work closely with other organizations whose whole focus is on the Black community, like Touch the Black Breast Cancer Alliance. And Ricky, who was our former board chair before Melissa, now is at the helm of Touch, and they have done tremendous work in, making people aware of the need for diversity in clinical trials and in actually recruiting Black women for clinical trials. And it's really remarkable. And I think it's something that, we're following closely and supporting in every way that we can, because it's going to make a huge difference, I think, in survival rates over time.
That's great. Dr. Newman is fantastic. She's a member of the AACR board of directors. What a phenomenal leader. Was recipient of an award from the Victoria's Secret Pelotonia Grant Award, and such a wonderful. Great to have her as an advisor. That's for sure. So you're in really good hands there. Melissa, what's your role as chair of the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation?
It's really such an honor. Again, I really have to stop and pinch myself sometimes because, I could just close my eyes and I can remember being in chemo and being like, am I going to die or not? And now I'm standing next to incredible people like Haley and Ricky and going to Washington D.C. and sitting in, having panel discussions in front of legislators. I mean, it's been incredible. I kind of have my hands in a little bit of everything. We have an annual event every year called No One Fights Alone, so I'm very involved with the planning and execution of that. I'm also very involved with our triple negative breast cancer awareness day and month. We have an incredible campaign called The Power of Three, where we engage ambassadors from all over the country. We send them really cool swag, and it's a social media campaign primarily.
What kind of
And
swag?
we have tumblers and fabulous sweatshirts, and we've done pajamas, with our logo. Just really, really fun. We try and keep it
Very cool,
different and new each year. But yeah, we activate 100 some on women every single year to share the 3 things that they wish they knew when they were diagnosed, and they help us raise funding and awareness around the day and the foundation. It's really, it gets bigger and better every single year, and it's something I'm really proud of, to be part of. And I mean, I work with Haley on things all the time. It goes on and on. We have all kinds of we have incredible partners who sponsor our programs. So involved with even just coming up with ideas for those and making sure those are executed, and just being part of the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation
Well,
team.
I've been involved in philanthropy for a long, long time, and it's such a it's so refreshing for me to see an executive director like you, Haley, and a chair like you, Melissa, working together. And it's not easy to be a chair of a nonprofit organization, but I get the sense and I get the feeling that there's lots of energy and passion that goes both ways here, and I'm sure that's what that really makes this work. But philanthropy is a tricky game, and you guys are doing wonderful work. So, as somebody that's been grounded in this world for many many years, I applaud your efforts, and I applaud the way you go about doing your jobs. It's really fantastic, and I think it's really really neat. So keep up the good work.
Well, thank you very much. And I owe so much, like, I know she's so humble to Haley, because she really took me under her wing and told me that I can do this and be part of this. And as usual, I never believe anything she says.
Can either one of you recall any, like, one specific, or there's probably many many stories of people that you have helped, but is there any one that really stands out of someone or some family that you guys have helped get through this problem?
Some of my favorite stories are people who came to us, you know, again, just right out of the doctor's office, sitting in the parking lot outside a hospital, Googling and finding us and calling and asking for help. People who, were diagnosed with later stage diseases, that we were able to immediately connect with appropriate clinical trials, um, and who are now thriving, right? They're doing so well. And now they are still, part of our community. I think, to me, the biggest success stories and the things that, kind of validate that we are serving people in the way that we hope to, is seeing people like Melissa or like Ricky, who came to us when they needed help and felt the benefit of the foundation, to the point where they wanted to then become volunteers and stayed connected and helped so many people that there was no choice, right? But to see them as board members and eventual board chairs. And I think that speaks a lot to the type of community that we have, and also the need for a community like this, right? Where,
Right,
you
right,
know, you're asking for one or two examples, but there's simply so many, and there are
right.
different ways that we've helped people. I'm thinking, Melissa, of one particular person who, when we went to SABCS, not this year, but the year before, she's a young woman, she's dealing with metastatic disease, and she had really specific questions, and she activated us right on the ground at SABCS, and Melissa, like the stalker that she is, found the appropriate person, and a researcher right after their presentation, and kind of cornered them and got them on camera and got them to answer these very specific questions for this one member of our community, right? And it ended up having an impact on her treatment. So I think that these are the types of things that we're proud of. The fact that, yes, we've grown over the years. We're different now than we were in 2006, but I think we still have the soul of a small organization, and that desire to really connect with each and every member that comes to us.
That's great. That's fantastic. So the SABCS, the San Antonio Breast Cancer event that we go to at our organization, you go to every year. What's your focus there at that meeting?
So prior to going, we survey our community. We ask them what they want to know, what information they want us to come back with. And there's always things that, that they're thinking about or reading about, and they want to know more about, right? And so our goal when we go there is to gather the information for them, to interview thought leaders, right? To interview, you know, people who are even in the beginning of their research careers, but, people are thinking about that type of research, and bring that information to our community in a way that they can understand it, right? And nothing too technical, but accurate and credible, and get the conversation going.
That's great. Melissa, you talked about this big event that you're working on. When is that? Could you tell us the name of that event again, and what's the date for that event?
Yes, I'd love to shout this from the rooftops. It's May 22nd. It's the No One Fights Alone annual gala. And it's something that we're really proud of. It takes place every year here in New Jersey. And it's a wonderful way to, have our community, sort of join forces with us and continue the mission, and also not just raise money but awareness, and have a really wonderful time doing it. We have honorees every year that we really enjoy focusing on and thanking by honoring them.
What is the best way for people to A, hear about Cancer Fashionista, then B, hear about TripleNegative Breast Cancer Foundation?
The best way to find out about the TripleNegative Breast Cancer Foundation is go to our website, tmbcfoundation.org. We also have a very strong presence on Instagram. You can find us at TMBC Foundation, as well as on Facebook, and a little bit on LinkedIn, a little Twitter, but I would say mainly Instagram and Facebook. And you can find me on my website, cancerfashionista.com. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Cancer Fashionista. And the name of my podcast is Dear Cancer, I'm Beautiful. And you can find it on
we will
Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Put that in the show notes so everybody can just link to it and make it real easy.
Thank you for the shameless plug. We love that.
Well, let me just tell you that when I had the great opportunity to meet you at SCBCS, it was like, for me, it was like this instant positive karma. And so I just want to say, great work. You all are making an impact. And that's so important in the work that all of us do, making an impact. And you're making a difference in many, many people's lives, women, men, families, kids, all the above. And I really appreciate what you all do. And we really appreciate your generosity and your belief in supporting research, which I think is obviously critically important, but also patient support and all the other work you do is critically important as well. But on behalf of all my colleagues at AACR, we think you guys are tops, and we think you're doing wonderful work. And just keep it going. And can't thank you enough for giving us some time today. And maybe get to go to the event in May. Maybe I can talk my wife into us having a night out, possibly.
I think that you should. I think that's a grand idea, and she can get a cute outfit or dress. It's honestly, it's a very important evening, and we get a lot of business done, but we have a lot of fun. We're a fun crew.
What a surprise to me. You're a fun crew. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for what you do each and every day. And it's a great honor for me to be able to spend some time with you and learn more about the great work that you do. And I can't wait to see you again soon. You inspire me.
And thank you, Mitch, and thank you for having us and for everything that you do. It's a team effort here with this cancer thing.
You're welcome. Once again, thank you to our listeners, supporters, and donors. Remember, your support drives the progress against cancer. Please consider subscribing to our podcast and sharing this episode with a friend, and heading over to our website, aacr.org, to consider making a donation. When you donate to the American Association for Cancer Research, your investment in life-saving research propels the important work of the more than 58,000 members of the AACR in driving progress against cancer. You can support life-saving cancer research with any donation you make today. Thank you for listening to Believe in Progress, the AACR Foundation podcast. This podcast is produced by CollegeCast LLC. Please visit www.collegecastpodcast.com for more information.